Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we will be discussing one of the important differences, that is the difference between typical and atypical antipsychotics. Now guys, this is very important in terms of BPharm examinations. Usually this type of question is asked in BPharm examinations. So I want that you guys should know this difference very well and you can understand it and digest it very well so that you can write it with confidence in the examination. So here I have selected some of the important differences between typical and atypical antipsychotics. After this video, you will be easily able to understand what is the basic differences and you will be also able to write it very well in the examinations. So let us begin. Okay. So first is typical antipsychotics. So typical antipsychotics are those drugs which are used to treat the disorder which is psychotic disorder, right? It is used to treat psychotic disorder. Even atypical antipsychotics, the name itself suggests that they are used to treat psychosis, right? Now here, this typical antipsychotics, they are the first generation drugs, whereas this atypical antipsychotics, they are second generation drugs. First in the market, typical antipsychotics appeared, and then after some time, atypical antipsychotics appeared, which are second generation. To combat the side effects of the first generation, generally second generation drugs appear. Okay, so we will see that in a bit. Now the second point, this type of typical antipsychotics increases EPS. What is EPS now? EPS, this is extrapyramidal symptoms. Okay, these are generally observed in the patients who are taking typical antipsychotics. Now, what is this extrapyramidal symptoms? These are those symptoms which are related to Parkinson's disease symptoms. So, when one takes such type of first generation drugs in psychosis, patients get such type of EPS symptoms, which includes tremors, restlessness, postural changes, etc. Okay. Whereas in this atypical antipsychotics, no significant EPS or extrapyramidal symptoms are observed. Okay. So, as I've already told, that people generally make second generation drugs to combat the first generation drugs side effects. Okay, so here the side effect was EPS. So, to combat this EPS, second generation drugs were developed. Now, the third point, it is also known as neuroleptics, major tranquilizers, and conventional antipsychotics. So, these are the other names by which typical antipsychotics are known. And atypical antipsychotics, they are known as serotonin dopamine antagonist. Okay, this one is neuroleptics, major tranquilizers, and conventional antipsychotics, and this one is serotonin dopamine antagonist. Now, from this third point only, the fourth point can be made, which is, see here what is mentioned, it is serotonin dopamine antagonist, right? So, this will be acting on 5-HT, that is serotonin, and dopamine, which is D. Now, which subtype of this receptor? 5-HT2A. And here for dopamine, it is which subtype? D2. So when they act on 5-HT2A and D2 as an antagonist, they are atypical antipsychotics. Okay. Now here, for typical antipsychotics, they will be only acting on D2 receptors. Okay, they are not acting on the serotonin receptors. Fine, so this is the major difference. And what is antagonist? Just for your knowledge, know that antagonists are those type of the drug substances which have intrinsic activity 0. Means they will prevent agonist to show its effect. They don't have their own effect, but they will prevent agonist from showing its effect. Okay, so that is the general meaning of antagonist. Now, let us move to another point. It increases the risk of neurological side effects. Okay, typical antipsychotics is going to increase what? They are going to increase the risk of neurological side effects. okay, which is like Parkinson's symptoms, right? So they are neurological diseases, they will increase neurological side effects. Now, with atypical antipsychotics, it is not that there will be no side effects. Still, there are some side effects which are observed. And what are they? They are increasing the risk of metabolic side effects. So here, in this case, it was neurological, and here it was metabolic side effects which are observed. Okay, now let us move to the next point. So here the next point is it includes examples such as chlorpromazine, flufenazine, and haloperidol. And over here it includes clozapine, risperidone, and olanzapine. So I hope now that typical differences between these two drug categories is clear to you. And if you like this video, then please do press the like button and subscribe to my channel for such important questions regarding BPharm exams. And also, yes, this type of questions are also very important because it will also help you prepare for GPAT and NIPER if you are going to appear for the same. So do subscribe to my channel, and also in the comment box do let me know if you have any doubt